Guys, lesson P.3. It's review. Okay, it's review. Linear equations and inequalities. It's solving. Okay, there's a few things I'll have to remind you of. We're going to talk about how to express answers. You guys know this stuff, though. So, now, are all the equations and inequalities going to be perfectly easy, though?
Yes.
Hopefully.
No, you're going to have to work a little bit. Okay, so, example 1. Prove that x equals -2 is a solution of the equation x to the third minus x plus 6 equals 0. How do I prove something like that?
You plug in x.
Okay, so in order to prove that a number is a solution, we're going to plug in x. So I'm going to say -2 to the third minus -2 plus 6, and then I'm going to write equals 0, but what are we really trying to do? It's kind of a question mark. Does it equal 0? So, what do we know? What is -2 to the third?
Negative. Yeah, negative.
Okay. 2 to the third is 8. 3 negatives is -8. What's minus -2 mean?
+2.
It becomes +2 plus 6. And then the question is still, does that equal 0? -8 plus 2 plus 6 is indeed 0, isn't it? So we just came up with the statement that 0 equals 0. So, is -2 a solution?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a solution. My proof is in my work here. My proof is in my work. That's how I proved that this is true, is I just showed my work. Okay? Questions there? Got that? Easy peasy, right? Okay, example 2. We're going to solve this equation. 2 times 2x minus 3 plus 3 times x plus 1 equals 5x plus 2. Okay, you see parentheses? You know the first step is to distribute. We're all good there, it sounds like. So, what's this line read when I distribute?
4x minus 6 plus 3x plus 2 equals 5x plus 2.
Okay, are you guys good with Logan's statement?
Better.
4x minus 6 plus 3x plus 3 equals 5x plus 2. That's distributing. I have confidence we all know that step. What's next?
Combine like terms.
Okay. Combine like terms, and I always try to, encourage, let's combine like terms on each side, right? Before we start moving stuff around. So, what do we know?
4x plus 3x is 7x.
Okay, 4x plus 3x is 7x.
-6 plus 3 is -3.
-6 plus 3 is -3.
And you just bring it down.
And it still equals 5x plus 2. Remember, when you're adding like terms on a side, you're keeping the signs as is, right? We're not trying to move anything around. We're just putting the like terms together on a side. Okay. Now what?
You gotta get your x's all to one side. So, personally, I would take 5, subtract it, and add 3 to the other side.
Okay. So we have nothing higher than a power of x to the first. So basic equation you've been doing probably since middle school. Move your variables, so your x's to one side, your constants without x's to the other side. I agree. I would move my x's to the left because that's where my larger x is. So in order to move a positive 5x, I'm going to subtract 5x. If I subtract 5x on the right, I'm subtracting 5x on the left, and I'm subtracting it from its like term. If we're moving x's to the left, that means we're moving constants to the right. So to move the -3, we're going to add 3. If you're adding 3 on the left, adding 3 on the right. So on the left, what's this clean up to be?
2x
7x minus 5x is 2x.
equals
Minus 3 plus 3 cancels.
5.
On the right, what's this cleanup to be?
5.
5x minus 5 cancels, and 2 plus 3 is 5.
Oh.
Okay? Now what?
Well, you want decimal or fraction?
All the above.
Okay.
You gotta go
So,
to the step first.
in order to get x by itself,
You gotta
if
divide
it's
by
2 times x, we're going to divide by 2.
Equals 5. 2.
In terms of answer, I really don't know what the answer key is going to say. I honestly tend to just leave it as an improper fraction, personally. So I tend to say that this would be 5 halves. Now, does that make 2.5 wrong?
Yes. Yes.
100%.
It does not
I
make
think it's right. It doesn't
2.5
say it on the
wrong.
answer key.
Okay. Okay, I'll remember that when I'm grading tests. Okay, I'll
No.
remember that when I'm grading
Yeah.
tests.
Only for them two.
Exactly.
Only pay what you get.
Okay. So, 5 halves. If you put 2.5, I'm not against that, but I tend to leave fraction answers most of the time. Okay. Example 3. We're solving another equation, but we're stepping up a moment, aren't we?
Not really.
Okay, we got to step it up a level of difficulty. The level of difficulty is there are fractions. Okay? Thoughts? What's your thought, Logan?
You're gonna multiply each side by 8 to start with.
Okay.
And then
He's suggesting we multiply each side by 8. Why would we multiply each side by 8?
cancel your left side 8.
Okay. If you're in a scenario when you want to get rid of fractions, okay, think about your denominators. Right now, my denominators are 8 and 4. We're looking for our least common multiple of 8 and 4. Or in other words, if I was getting a common denominator, what would be the common denominator between 8 and 4? And that would be 8. So we're going to multiply both sides by 8. And what that should do is it should clear out all fractions. Okay? So I'm going to write it in here. Then we're multiplying both sides by 8. Now, on the left, when you multiply 8 by a fraction, what is 8 as a fraction?
8 over 1.
8 over 1. Okay, on the left, it's 8 over 1 times a fraction. What can we do here? Because this is one big fraction here, the 8 in the numerator can cancel with the 8 in the denominator. And what remains? (5y minus 2). What about the right?
You basically just multiplied it by 2.
So take the 8, and it has to multiply by 2. 8 times 2 is 16.
Plus
8y
8 divided by 4.
32.
Okay, so we also have to multiply. Okay, I guess I better make sure we're all clear here because it sounds like I went a different direction than what you guys were going. Okay, so
You got cancel.
it's a term plus a term. This 8 has to multiply by both terms. Okay, so this whole number 2, 8 times 2, 16. Carry the plus sign down. Now I'm doing 8 times y over 4. When you do 8 times y over 4, 8 and 4 can cross cancel, yes? What do we know? 8 and 4 both divide by 4. So this 4 cancels, and this 8 becomes a 2. 2 times y makes it 2y.
Wait, what? I just multiplied the whole thing by 2.
What?
So I got 4 plus.
I want to ask what the final answer.
I just got 4 plus 2y.
No.
4 plus 2y. See, I did it the wrong.
No, because 8 is multiplying by both terms, and while the 8 cancels on this one fraction, it's not canceled for the other. Okay.
I wanted. Can you tell me what the answer is before I start erasing?
What'd you get?
2.
Nope. Wrong answer. Okay.
I'm not gonna erase.
Are we good with this step? Whether you agree or disagree, you've got to be good because you have to agree.
Wait a second. Hold on.
Okay. You have to agree. Or, no offense, you're wrong. Okay. What's my next step?
Don't know.
The next step is easy at this point once you catch up.
You just same side variables. Whatever they're called.
Yeah, we want our y's on one side, numbers on the other side. So, I personally, 5y's bigger, so I'm probably going to subtract 2y from both sides. And then to move the -2, I'm going to add 2.
Yes.
Okay. Girls, feel free to speak up. What do we have on the left? What was it? 3y equals, what's on the right?
18.
18. And now what? Divide by 3. Thank you.
See, I really meant 2 times 3 as my answer, not just 2.
Okay, final answer? Y equals 6. Okay, for the record, since there is some discrepancy in answers here, how can we check our answer?
Plugging it in.
Plug it into the original problem, yes? Not one that you've done work on, but to the original problem. So 5 times 6 is 30, minus 2 is going to be 28. 28 divided by
Yeah, see, that's
8. Over here, 6 divided by 4, 3 halves, or 6/4, plus 2.
yeah.
Do the math. I'm confident in my answer. Do the math. It should work. Okay, folks, these are steps we know. It's a matter of reviewing, going back in your brains, okay? Yes, you're going to see some in homework that you're going to have to work at. Okay, they're not all going to be the, middle school level problems. You're going to have to work at them.
I think they do.
Okay, moving on. Example 4. This time, changing it up. The only difference, though, is, gentlemen, we have an inequality, yes? So, step 1,
Distribute.
we're distributing. 3x minus 3 plus 2. What symbol is that?
less than or equal to.
Okay, making sure we know. It's less than or equal to. After you distribute,
You combine like terms.
okay, there's a nice little cleanup on the left. So carrying down my 3x, minus 3 plus 2 is
-1.
minus 1, less than or equal to 5x plus 6.
Agreed.
Now what?
Same side variables.
Okay. Variables on one side, numbers on the other side. Which way would you guys like me to do this?
Let's subtract 3x.
Yeah.
Okay.
Personally.
If we want to, and we can do it both ways here, right? If you want to keep a positive variable, we can move the 3x, which means subtract 3x, subtract 3x. If we're moving x's to the right, then this 6
Goes to the left.
needs to subtract and go to the left. 3x minus 3x cancels. -1 minus 6, -7. 5x minus 3x,
2x.
2x.
Let's give it.
6 is canceled. And
You divide by the 2.
divide by 2. Now, as our answer reads, that would come out -7/2 less than or equal to x, yes?
Yeah.
Flip.
I flipped it.
Okay.
X is greater.
I would definitely encourage you to rewrite it as x greater than or equal to -7/2. Now, I don't know, did anyone keep their x's on the left?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Did you
Oh,
subtract
do
3?
that?
Add
No,
3?
I didn't
Yeah. Because here's the deal. If anyone kept their x's on the left, they ended up with what? Negative 2x less than or equal to 7. If you did that, what's the catch? When you divide by a negative in an inequality situation,
You flip the sign.
you have to flip the sign, yes?
I forgot about that one.
So if you divide by negative 2, you end up with x greater than or equal to negative 7/2. I'm just throwing that in there as a reminder. When you multiply or divide both sides by a negative, you reverse the inequality sign, yes?
See?
Okay. Now, is everyone listening for this next piece of information?
This is hard.
At the
Yes.
bottom of your notes, you will notice it says, write all inequality answers in interval notation. When you start checking odds, I guess your assignment is all evens, isn't it? But if you start checking the odds or looking in the back of the book, they're going to have inequalities. What am I asking you for?
Interval.
I'm asking you for interval notation. So interval notation, okay, review. What's this graph look like? It starts where? Negative 7/2 and goes where?
To the right.
To the right. Now, would we use a parenthesis or a bracket at negative 7/2?
Bracket. Because it's equal to.
Because it's equal to, it would be a bracket. Now,
What color do we know?
okay. Previously, we would have said a closed or filled in circle, right? Now, this one didn't ask for a graph. Might you have a couple graphs on homework? Yes.
I guess so.
Okay. I'm doing this as a teaching opportunity, though. Interval notation. Where does my shaded interval start? Starts at
-7.
negative 7/2 with a parenthesis or bracket.
Bracket.
Bracket because it's equal to. Comma. How far does my shaded interval go? It's going infinitely right, so that's positive infinity. Infinity always uses parenthesis. I'm looking for that answer right there. Okay? So, well, yes, you get the inequality answer. I'm going to be looking for interval notation. We've got to practice our interval notation. The book's not telling you that, but
You are.
I am. We'll see how many people remember this come tomorrow.
Yeah, you're gonna forget because you're gonna do your homework.
Okay, 2 more examples.
Get it.
Example 5. Solve the inequality and graph its solution. Write in interval notation. So, what are your thoughts as you look at example 5?
That's a lot of numbers.
Nope.
I thought he says a lot of numbers. I thought he was going to say a lot of fractions.
Well, yeah, it's a lot of fractions too.
Okay,
4 is a
so-
lot.
What am I going to say? You see a lot of fractions. You don't like fractions. What do?
Get rid of them.
We get rid of the
See you
fractions.
later.
How do we get rid of the fractions?
Multiplication.
What are we going to multiply by?
A number.
Someone want to share said number with me?
I have an ND.
Yep. Basically, if I was getting a common denominator between 3, 2, 4, and 3, what can 3, 2, 4, and another 3 all go into?
Oh, all of them?
Yes.
Oh, 12. Okay.
12. Yes?
I wasn't just thinking the left side.
So we're going to multiply both sides of our inequality by 12. 12 as a fraction is 12 over 1. So, on the left, 12 times x over 3.
Oh, hold on.
So, 12 over 1 times x over 3,
12x over 3.
which becomes,
4x.
yeah,
Like I
cross
said.
cancel, 1, 4, so 4x, plus, now I'm doing 12 over 1 times 1 over 2, or what's half of 12? 6. I'm multiplying by positive 12, so I'm just carrying down my greater sign. 12 over 1 times x over 4. 4 and 12 cancel, and you're left with 3x plus 12 over 1 times 1 over 3. A third of 12 is 4. Obviously, you don't have to write this out, but I could sense that there was a little bit of
Only at
forgetfulness
first.
with fractions.
Only at first.
Now, we got rid of all those nasty fractions. Is this a piece of cake at this point?
Yeah. 100%.
Okay, it should be. Move your variables to one side, numbers to the other side. And I know I'm going kind of fast on this stuff, but it's review. We might need some reminders, but it's review. So
Agreed.
I won't always go this fast. So I subtracted 3x and subtracted 6. Is that what you guys did?
Yes.
X greater than negative 2? Okay. Now, what did the directions say?
Write an interval notation.
And graph it.
That's right.
Okay, so interval notation and graph. Now, officially it asks us to graph, so I'm going to do official graph. I'm going to put negative 2 on the number line. I would ask that you put a couple other numbers at least. Number accordingly. My graph personally ran from negative 4 to 0. Okay, what's this graph look like? At negative 2, it's a parenthesis, correct, because it's not equal to. And which way am I shading?
Right.
Greater than, so I'm shading to the right. And that means my parenthesis opens to the right. So what is my interval notation answer then?
It is negative 2, comma 0. Or sorry, infinity. Sorry, so zero down there. Negative 2, comma infinity with both parentheses.
Okay. My shading starts at negative 2. It was not equal to, so parenthesis. It goes infinitely right, so infinity. Infinities always
Parentheses.
use a parenthesis. Watch in the directions when it says to graph and when you don't have to graph. Interval notation on everything. Okay. One more. Solve the inequality, graph its solution, write your answer in interval notation. Now, the different part here is we have 3 pieces, yes?
Yes.
So we got to solve for x in the
And we want x solved in the middle. So your job is to get x by itself in the middle. Right now in the middle, it's 2x
plus
plus 5 divided by 3. How do you start getting x by itself?
multiply
Hear me out.
everything
Hear
by
me
3.
out. We multiply by 3.
Okay.
After hearing me out.
So, worry about getting the x in the middle.
I speak for the
First of all, I want to get that divide by 3 away. To get divide by 3 away, we're multiplying by 3. Now, here's the deal. If I multiply the middle by 3, yep, we're multiplying all the sides by 3. The left, the right, the middle. On the left, 3 times negative 3,
the number. Negative 9.
less than. In the middle, what does multiplying by 3 do?
Just cancels it.
Cancels the 3.
Cancels it.
So now I have
2x plus 5.
2x plus 5 less than or equal to
5 times 3. 15.
15. Okay, keep working to get x by itself. In the middle, I have 2x plus 5, so I'm going to,
Subtract 5. Get it out of there.
if I subtract 5 in the middle,
You have to do it on everywhere.
we're subtracting 5 on all 3 sides. Negative 9 minus 5,
Negative 14.
less than,
2x.
less than or equal to
10.
10.
I got you.
To get 2 by itself,
Divide by 2. Here we go.
divide all 3 sides by 2. Does your answer agree with my answer?
I have a feeling it
Yeah.
has to.
-7, less than x, less than or equal to 5?
Yeah.
That's what I got.
Okay.
So
Now, if I label my number line all the way between -7 and 5,
I think you
I'm going to be a little lazy.
I just did my 2.
I'm going to do 0. I'm going to do 5.
Heck yeah.
I'm going to do -7.
Two skip.
Okay. 2s, 5s, find some that works. Now, where is the shading here?
It's
In between the two of them.
Okay.
fair enough.
Less than or equal to 5 is going left of 5. And then this one, -7 less than x, remember, reverse it in your head so it's greater than -7. What do I need at -7? Parenthesis, because it's not equal to. What do I need at 5? A bracket, because it is equal to. Okay, there's my graph. I need interval notation. Where does my shading start?
-7.
-7.
With a
Parentheses.
comma. Where's my shading end?
5.
With a,
Bracket.
okay. While I expect to see an answer -7 less than x less than or equal to 5 on your homework, you have to go that step farther and give me interval notation.
So you want both?
Well, you're going to have the inequality just from solving. That's just going to happen naturally. Okay, so your homework on page 25, it's all even, 12 through 28 and 36 to 54. It is due tomorrow.
Hear me out.
Okay? I'm not hearing you out. It's due tomorrow.
You veto this one.